Good afternoon, class. In today's lecture, we'll be discussing session layer. In the last lecture, we discussed transport layer, all the responsibilities and functions of transport layer. Today, we'll be discussing the layer upper to the transport layer in the OSI module, the next layer, which is session layer. We'll discuss the responsibilities and functionalities of session layer today. As discussed earlier also, these upper layer session, presentation and applications are users layer. That means they support users to access the OSI model. Session layer actually establishes, maintains and synchronizes dialogues between the communicating layers. The dialogue is created between the applications. I discussed earlier also, it is used in synchronization and dialogue control. You enter into a system where you put synchronization points. So this is a layer which helps the user to implement the operating system as a system software. Some of the services, some of the functions of the session layer are: first is to make a connection and disconnections of dialogues between applications. The next, as discussed right now also, we insert synchronization points between the data exchange. What is the purpose of inserting a synchronization point? If suppose you are sending a very big file and some error occurs in between, so you need not to resend the complete file. The cursor will go back to the last synchronization point and only the file after that synchronization point will be resend. You need not to send the resend the file before synchronization point. The next function is to coordinate who can send when. That is, various applications are running on the computer at a time, so only one application can send to the lower layer, transport layer. So session layer controls which application can send and at what time. It also ensures the data exchange is complete before the session closes. For example, if you are doing a shopping cart, online shopping cart, the browser creates a session. Till the time you add things in the cart, they are stored in that session through cookies. If for the longer time you are not accessing your browser, it says the session is out. So basically it allows you that the complete data is exchanged in the session itself. If session expires, your data disappears. These are the services of session layer, which we will be discussing here. Now next comes session and transport interaction. As you know, each upper layer interacts with the lower layers. So the layer below session layer is transport layer. These two layers behave differently. That means in transport layer you can abruptly anytime disconnect your connection made for data exchange. That means transport layer can disconnect in between, but session layer never disconnects the connection in between which is being used by the user. Transport layer can do some job and then disconnect, but session layer either completes all the tasks or it does not do anything, all or none. Now we will discuss session to transport communication, that is how a session layer communicates with the transport layer. A connection is being made in the session layer and a connection is being made in the transport layer. These two connections communicate with each other. There are various types of communication: one-to-one, many-to-one, or one-to-many. Coming to one-to-one, one-to-one means one session layer connection is made. It interacts with one transport layer connection. So this is a one-to-one communication. Anything sent by the session layer goes to the one connection of transport layer. The next is many-to-one. That means multiple session layer connections are communicating with the single transport layer connection. So this is many-to-one. Next comes is your one-to-many. One-to-many, let's look have a look on the diagram. One-to-many means one session layer connection is interacting with various transport layer connection. That means only one connection is made in the session layer, but a lot of connections are made in the transport layer, and all of these connections are communicating only to one session layer connection, right? Next, coming to the synchronization points, which we have discussed, we add synchronization points in our dialogues. What is synchronization point? It is a mechanism for the recovery whenever there is some mishandling or some error occurred. In this manner, you recover your data. There are two major types of synchronization points, major and minor. What is major? Major is the main points at which you are dividing your dialogue exchange, the point at which you are saying that this is one dialogue. Next major point comes, it is the second dialogue. So you are dividing your work into smaller points in major synchronization points. These are the points in which both the users which are communicating needs to confirm. If one major point comes, the received sender sets the major point there, the receiver has to confirm, give a confirmation and acknowledgement of that major point. If any error occurs, it can simply go back to the last major synchronization point. Coming to minor synchronization point, they are the synchronization point which are being added in the middle of the dialogue. What do I mean by this? Major synchronization point divides your exchange in the dialogues. That is one between two major points is a one dialogue. In that one dialogue, you insert many minor synchronization points, and for this you need not need any confirmation or acknowledgement from the receiver. If some error occurs, it may go back to one or more any of the minor synchronization point. Clear? Now coming to the diagram, here you can see this is an activity made up of only one dialogue. That means suppose I am sending a Word document, this is only my one session. So this is my start of the dialogue, major synchronization point. This is the end of the dialogue with another major synchronization point. This is one single dialogue. You can insert multiple minor synchronization points in a dialogue. Now the next diagram tells you this is an activity made up of more than one dialogue. That means it is a huge activity and you're dividing it into multiple dialogues. So the dialogue division is done with the help of major synchronization point. This is the start of one dialogue. As soon as you insert another major synchronization point, that means this is one single dialogue. The second dialogue starts, which is terminated by another major synchronization point, and the third. That means the big activity is divided into three small dialogues. In between, in each and every dialogue, you can insert minor synchronization point. These are the minor synchronization points shown with the dashed arrows, which are being inserted in a single dialogue. In this way, you synchronize your data. Next, coming to the session protocol data unit. What is this SPDU? This is basically that I told you whenever a message passes from an upper layer to the lower layer, each and every layer adds a header along with the data. This header, this protocol data unit, has a specific format. There can be various different types of SPDUs. Basically 36 different types of SPDUs are being supported by the session layer, but all of these follows the common format of the header. First, in this field comes as SPDU identifier. In short, you can say it as SI. What is SPDU identifier? It identifies the type of the data unit. Out of this 36 different type, what is the type? It tells you that identifier number. Next is your length indicator, LI. It tells you the complete length of this SPDU, this header being attached. The next is your parameter group information or parameter information. It includes your control information required to create a dialogue, your synchronization points or specific service specifications. All these information are stored in this parameter group information. Along with these fields, then finally you attach your data. This makes your data unit, which is sent to the lower layer, which is your transport layer. Here by now we have completed our session layer. In the next lecture we'll start with presentation layer. If any doubts, you can write me on your Google Classroom. Thank you.